Norfolk Youth Governor and a clinical support worker in the early intervention team. And to make myself sound less stuffy, I'm a dog mum, a sister, a friend. As from 2 days ago, a Tim Hortons addict and a Norwich City football fan.
Hi, so I'm Vicky. I'm a Suffolk Youth Governor as well. I also am training to be a social worker, and hearing on that, I'm also a dog mum of a little pug. He's a therapy dog. I'm a sister, I'm a godmum, and I've also experienced mental health conditions. If you couldn't tell, we're from the UK.
Apparently we have an accent. I really didn't realise until somebody said earlier. And there should be 3 of us here. Unfortunately, Chantel, she couldn't be here and was advised not to fly for medical conditions. And she was coming at it from sitting on a governance panel. So me and Vicky are going to quickly run through our presentation and then on behalf of Chantel run through her notes and then take any questions if that's cool with you guys. Okay, so we're part of the Council of Governors. We work in a mental health organisation in Norfolk and Suffolk as a joint trust. So we have trust members and members of the public, then on top of that is governors, then NEDs, non-executive directors. Then on top of them we have the executive directors like the CEOs, the directors of finance. So what we do is we go into our respective areas, so we represent youth of Norfolk and Suffolk, so we go into youth teams for mental health, youth groups, all sorts, see if there's anything they need, what we're doing well, what we're not doing well. We have our Council of Governors meetings 4 times a year, which is going up 6 times a year as from January. So our morning meetings are held in private, and then after a lunch break we have 3.5 hours where the public can come along and ask any questions and hear what we've discussed earlier. Oh, and also if we find that there's an area that isn't being looked at properly or needs to be looked at in more detail, we can create steering groups. So there was a homeless problem in Norwich, the city in Norfolk, so there was a steering group created to try and combat that problem. And more recently, a lot of the governors are like, what do we actually do? So there was a steering group put together to actually see what do we do, what can we do, and what responsibilities can we have. There you go.
Okay, so our Council of Governors is made up of 28 individuals. It kind of fluctuates as people come in or leave. They tend to stand a 3-year term. So we have different expertise in there. So we've got public governors, service user governors, so people that have used mental health services that sit as governors, carer governors, so carers of those who've experienced mental health conditions, youth governors, which is us, partner governors from different universities, and staff governors, so people that work within the trust.
Everybody is elected from trust members and members of the public, apart from partner governors and youth governors who are elected from their own team. So we come from the Youth Council, which is a participation group, and obviously the county council reps and university reps have a special interest in health and social care, so they come forward. Okay, so what we've done quite a lot, so as much as we can anyway so far.
Specifically us as youth governors, we kind of encourage stakeholders and competency interviews for non-executive directors and executive directors. So that involves having a service user on the interview panel when somebody gets chosen for a job.
Okay, I was lucky enough to be part of a Getting Stuff Done group. It was found that there was a big area that wasn't being looked at, and a lot of that was service user and carer participation. So this Getting Stuff Done group, which I cannot name, someone wanted to call it Voices, I was like, that's really dull. So we called it Getting Stuff Done. So it involved the CEO, director of nursing, a few other governors and some service users and carers. And we sort of looked at away days for the services and service users. There's so much going on. Norfolk and Suffolk is such a big rural area, it's 2 massive counties. And something in Norfolk might be completely different in Suffolk, so we wanted to try and match those up to make sure it wasn't a postcode lottery, that you received the same service no matter where you were from.
We created social media accounts. A lot of the governors are a lot older than us, probably 30 plus years older than us, and are unaccustomed to social media. Well, most of them are, but we introduced them to social media, Twitter, Instagram.
We do a lot of visits to universities and colleges within Norfolk and Suffolk to just check in with the students. Is there any peer support for the students in universities? Is there any crisis points that they can go to? So we just check in and see what's going well, what's not going well, where can we help? That's me and Vicky. The governors and they know that I say this. It's not a secret. I consider them as suits. Robots in suits, and they're not visible at all to the public. So I got some photo props in, and I was like, right guys, come on, let's just make ourselves more approachable. We're people, we hear a lot of people's stories, and they're really quite poorly, and they're not afraid to tell us how they are, and not be afraid of how they come across. So let's just have a little bit of fun, and make us feel a little bit more approachable and service user and carer friendly.
We also created governor profiles, so it's almost like a one-page profile explaining what the governors are in their own personal lives, so whether they like Marmite on toast, I'm not sure you know what it is, jam on toast, if they have a dog, if they've got children, what their special interests are, if they read novels, that kind of stuff, to make them seem more human.
Initially, the governor profiles were what their special interest was and any qualifications. It's really unfair if you haven't got any qualifications, and all you know is you being poorly from a young age with your mental health. So it's can we just make this a bit more approachable? Do we all have dogs? Do we have things in common? And from that, there was during one of the training days, we split up into groups, and we had to find 5 common themes that we all had in common that wasn't qualification related. So it was we all had sisters, we'd all holidayed in Spain, we were all big dog people, we all passed our driving test second time round, just all sorts of stuff like that, just to make them seem less stuffy. So we're now introducing member incentives, so you can sign up to be a trust member, and you don't actually get anything. All you do is get weekly updates, monthly updates, and if it's anything worth reading, it's going to be on the news when it happens. So it's if you get an email with something that you've heard on the news regarding the trust, or you get an email offering you 20% off a dress that you've had in your shopping cart for ages online, which one are you going to open? So just making it a little bit, more interesting to be a governor. What do they get out of it? Member, and what do they get out of it?
We also go around and visit young people, and if they've got any concerns, we take this to the Council of Governors to raise it higher.
Mm-hmm. And we can also add our own interview questions when we're interviewing CEOs and new directors, such as what's the most creative thing you can do with a potato, and if you were going to a fancy dress party tonight, what would you go as and why? Okay. So we've had some feedback, we've asked for some feedback. So.
I'm just going to be bland and read it out. The governors are a diverse bunch of individuals, but all identify with the same aims. That is, to make life better for the service users, carers and staff of NSFT, which is Norfolk and Suffolk Foundation Trust. Young governors like Megan and Vicky make a substantial contribution to the way we think about governance. They ensure that young people's voices are heard and their views are taken into account when decisions are made by the board. They are in the vanguard and will open the door to other young members of the trust. We desperately need an even more diverse council to truly reflect views of members and the general public.
Megan and Vicky have breathed new life into the Council of Governors. They're younger than most of the rest of us by several decades and have the sort of ideas that we wish we had thought of first. There is an essential role for younger people like these two in many organisations because the future is theirs.
Megan and Vicky give a fresh and authentic voice to what we discuss, even if Megan supports a rubbish football club. we need more young people to tell us how it is for them. Meg and Vicky bring essential dialogue to our council. There is genuine enthusiasm for making a difference, providing a wide range of skills. They have a very real impact on the lives of our service users and carers. They've been empowered to create change within our organisation and are critical in the decision-making process, ensuring services and their delivery are always improving to better serve the population. Their involvement and passion for the work is a testament to their character and is a real joy to have them with us, shaping lives and working to achieve the same common goals of improving healthcare for the people of Norfolk and Suffolk.
And we've got last minute feedback from James, who's one of our partner governors. We're serious in our commitment to help young people, so it's essential that we have our Vicky and Meg in positions where they can influence direction and purpose for providing the voice of our young people. If your organisation is serious about involving young people, then you need a Vicky or a Megan. They have won the respect of the whole governing body. Their confidence in speaking out and giving us a little gem, leaving us all wishing we had thought of it, is quite remarkable. No volume.
Good, I don't know which one it is. You sure?
Any tech-savvy people in the room?
Not with those boards.
No, it's always difficult.
Governors are an
Hey.
absolute asset to our work. Without them, we'd be a bunch of old fiddlers. And both of them speak cogently, succinctly, they know what they're talking about, and boy do they shake us up. They're brilliant.
Hi, my name's Howard Tidman. I'm the lead governor here at Norfolk Suffolk NHS Foundation Trust. I'd just like to say what a great asset Megan and Vicky bring to the Council of Governors. By nature, the Council is a volunteer body that has quite a lot of power within Norfolk Suffolk Foundation Trust. And as a consequence, because everybody's a volunteer, we tend to get a lot of older people, such as myself. And the truth is, we don't represent the whole population. And Megan and Vicky bring an absolutely fabulous voice of young people and remind us of what we're supposed to be focused on. And also, more importantly, pull us up, because otherwise we're a bunch of fuddy-duddies talking about a load of old tosh, and it's really good to turn around and have Megan and Vicky bringing a youthful spirit to the Council of Governors, which makes the thing more fun for everybody. Thank you.
Okay, so it's not all been plain sailing. We've quite had a few barriers. First of all, there's a lot of abbreviations. Like, nobody was born like saying COG, NSFT, SCP. Like, just, you know, as I say, meg it down a little bit, make it like more sense for everybody. And whenever somebody did say an abbreviation, they had to put a pound in the jar to go towards the youth council participation, and nobody said any abbreviations after that.
Being the youngest in the room was a big barrier because there's generational differences as well.
And like I said earlier, Norfolk and Suffolk is such a rural area. There's a lot of tractors and fields, and it takes a long time to get there. And they're held at 10 o'clock in the morning, these meetings, so you have to leave quite early. Oh, there's governor's training before you're a governor, and the person holding the training a couple of years ago, he was like, and none of this must be put on Twitter, and looked straight at me. I was like, okay, nice one. So there is a stigma that we're young people, we're going to put everything on Facebook and Twitter and all that, and that's not the case, obviously.
Having professionals that are stuck in their way, the way they've learnt something, that's the only way they're going to teach it and go forward with it.
Yeah, trusting us that, you know, we're on the same side of them. We want the best for the service users and carers that are receiving support from our trusts.
finding the balance between being professional and being honest. It can be a tough one because we're seen to be professional, but also we have our own opinions and voices that we like to share.
Communications and access team. So when you become a governor, you're given a card that gives you access to hospitals and wards. And they're like, go, please be a governor, but we don't want to give you a card in case you're triggered or something. I'm like, I think we're okay. So we were half given it, and then it was kind of taken back, but we fought it and we got cards.
And negative opinions as follows.
The Council of Muppets. The NSFT Council of Governors is a disgrace. It's supposed to represent patients, carers, staff and the public, but tomorrow it will discuss the failure of mental health services by commissioners, private, the public excluded. Shameful but typical. Okay, so the mental health trust we're in, it is in special measures. It's not ideal, it's not great, but it's not just up to the governors to do this. We were rated caring really high, but it was leadership that let us down. So we do get a lot of negative press, and before young, fiery women, we wanted to sort of act out on the left, whereas now we kind of have to adapt the smile and wave, it's fine, try and keep your tongues up, don't try and, so we're fiery, but we have to, stay professional and try not to challenge a lot of all the negative press and just go along with it. Okay, so back to where we meet. Norfolk and Suffolk covers a lot of East Anglia. The purple is Norfolk, the orange is Suffolk. I'm the black star at the top, Vicky's the one at the bottom, and the red star is where we meet in the middle. So where I wasn't driving, I used to have to get 2 buses and a train and then walk a mile to get there, and it used to take about 3.5 hours each way just to attend a meeting. And then obviously since I've driven, it takes an hour and a half just to drive that. Which is fine, it's worth doing, and we do get our expenses covered and reimbursed, but it takes about 3 months. So if you were unemployed, you kind of need to go to the bank with mum and dad and say, can I borrow some money, just to get to the meeting. So our end of the bargain, we support the organisation through the good and bad times. We do get a lot of negative press, like I said, but we just have to go along with it and just keep faith that we're making change, and it's not going to happen overnight, but we're getting there.
We also have to attend the Council of Governor meetings, obviously as a governor, and go to mandatory training days.
We represent the trust and uphold their values, which is positively, respectfully and together. So wherever we go, we know that we're associated with the trust now, and we have to act professional, and as the governors would want us to.
And more importantly, we make sure that young people's voices are heard.
Okay, so how it happened, we were originally part of the Youth Council, which was created in 2011, which was basically to make sure that participation for young people was, happening across Norfolk and Suffolk.
We had one chair that covered both Norfolk and Suffolk.
And then once the chair came to the end of his term, we decided that Norfolk and Suffolk are so big and so different in what they offer, we should have a chair for Norfolk and a chair for Suffolk. So myself and Vicky were elected.
We were getting frustrated that none of our voices or ideas were being heard or escalated.
We raised this frustration with senior leaders and demanded a response and solution. And it wasn't just one time we'd done that, it was several times before it actually got taken seriously.
So we were given 2 places on the Council of Governors.
And then obviously enter Meg and Vicky. Yeah. So what do we get out of it? We get power, most importantly, and opportunity to make change.
We get experience, so we get experience of sitting on the Council of Governors, so from the professional side and also meeting with young people.
We do get treated like professionals now. Before we were treated like, service users, which is fine, but if you're going to treat other people like professionals, treat us like professionals as well.
We have influence of positive change.
Yeah, we can see things from a service user point of view, and as a strategic partner now, we can see it from a different angle.
We get trust and independence.
We have direct access to the NEDs and the execs.
Non-executive directors. Yes. Opportunities to travel.
To be here, and we get recognised for our enthusiasm
and again, more importantly, we can make sure young people are heard.
Okay, so we think if you haven't already, you guys should adopt this in your own mental health organisations or mental health teams. The main thing of it is young people know what they want and they know what's working for them and they know what's not. So you better to ask them, a young person, for what's going on with them.
So not only do we receive respect, but we also gain respect for other professionals in positions of power who we work alongside, bridging the divide between adults and us.
So yeah, there's a lot of management within the teams. Obviously, you know, you have to, it takes about a year to get anywhere. So that you cut out several layers of management and just go to the person who needs to make a decision or who you need to talk to.
So there's no Chinese whispers or miscommunication, so we're directly communicated with via email or via text.
And we talk like young people, like we don't pass on something and then it gets changed into stuffy language. And like I said, who better to ask what's going on in a young person's world than a young person. That's that from me and Vicky. Like I said, Chantel's not here, so I'm going to quickly play a video. I'm not sure if it will work through the microphone, and read out some of her notes.
Hi, it's Rob Mack here, Service Director for Children and Young People in Norfolk and Waveney. I've been asked by Megan to give you a small video just to talk about my experience of Chantel and working with other young people around our governance of young people's mental health services. Firstly, they're an amazing group and have added so much value to our services. Chantel in particular recently has made a massive commitment to come to our regular monthly clinical governance meetings. Now, in all honesty, these meetings can be really challenging. They're challenging for clinicians to be a part of. They can be robust, they can be discussing very difficult issues. Chantel has brought to these an air of honesty and reality and the voice of young people. For example, when we were talking about care plans, a lot of our clinicians expressed concern about the importance of care planning. Chantel was able to firmly and thoughtfully respond to them about the importance from the young person's perspective of this rather than the professional's need. She provided this in a way that people were able to engage with and to understand, and shared both her own personal experiences and those of young people she'd spoken to. Chantel's also brought a much more dynamic and energetic approach to a lot of our conversations, challenging our language, challenging the way we think, and the way we talk about young people and parents and carers. This has been enormously helpful, not just for services, but for me personally. I think one of the lessons I take from this is the impact on young people of supporting governance and being involved at the highest levels of organisations. I think we need to all take seriously our responsibilities to support and to keep safe young people, and to make sure that their thoughts and views are not just heard, but actually have real authority and power behind them. Thank you.
Okay, so that was
Hi,
from
John.
the service director, and Chantel sat on the governance panel, so that involves all clinicians or clinical team leads in Norfolk. So I'm just going to read some of her notes. I can't do it like enough justice. She would have been brilliant here, but I'll try my best. So my name is Chantel. I was under mental health services in Norfolk for 10 years. I've seen many changes, good, bad, and absolutely terrible. When I became well enough, I decided to get involved with participation and make sure decisions were made with the service users in mind. I joined NSFT Council and was given the opportunity to attend local governance meetings held once a month at the hospital. This was an incredible experience because it gave me the chance to express the emotions and trauma of young service users and how our way of thinking, acting and engaging affects their recovery. Sometimes being at governance was incredibly hard because I had to dig really deep and be professional when I was faced with the professionals' lack of empathy and connection to these young people they were supposed to be helping. It was hard not to shout and cry, but I took it very seriously that I had a responsibility to react to this negative behaviour in a calm manner. By doing so, I changed a lot of attitudes and how these meetings would be held. For instance, every governance meeting is now started with a trigger warning. Serious incidents are mentioned a lot, and I thought it was important we all prepared for those in a respectful way for everybody involved. I I also expressed how we should listen to those incident reports in total silence. Many would type away on their laptops. I told them how every year in November we take minutes of silence for those who fought in the wars. Those soldiers can't see us being silent, but we do it out of respect and honour. I feel that the young people who are involved in these serious incidents reports, they deserve the same amount of respect and honour. I found after a few meetings of addressing attitudes and communication, the impact I had made was very clear and also incredibly important. People took time to think before they spoke. They listened better to each other, left their egos at the door, because not one person can be the hero of changing mental health services. It's going to take all of us with the right attitude, patience and persistence. I made connections with professionals I wouldn't have ever made, and it gave me opportunities to take back to the Youth Council, giving other people of the members of the Youth Council platforms to express and participate in changes within the services. I've faced many barriers being part of Youth Council and on governance, but I like to think I've overcome them in a professional, passionate way. Nothing is ever easy, and it's hard sometimes to get people to listen, but we all try incredibly hard and have made such a difference. Because we refuse to be silent, we refuse to be victims of our own minds, and we most certainly refuse to be boxed with such intense stigma that comes with being a service user. I couldn't be prouder of myself, Meg and Vicky, for all the work that goes into everything we do, and I know that we've made incredible impacts in our individual ways, but also heightening the voice of every